Each year, the UBS, Union Bank of Switzerland, releases a real estate bubble index. You may be asking yourself, why do we care about what some bank in Switzerland says about our real estate market? Well, they just happen to be the largest multinational investment bank and manages the largest amount of private wealth in the world. We should also consider that as the largest bank in the world, UBS is lending to our lenders. So maybe, just maybe, we should focus on analyzing what they have to say. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about everything real estate in Canada and Toronto. My name is Macallum and I am the leader of a 40-agent real estate team here in the city of Toronto. We specialize in residential resale, pre-construction, as well as leasing. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button to be notified when I release another video. And if you want to set up a buyer consultation, a listing consultation, or a general call to talk about the real estate market, go to the description below and you can book a meeting directly into my calendar. Each time the UBS Real Estate Bubble Index is released, I find that everyone just flocks and scrolls as fast as they possibly can to see which city is in first on the list. And then they assume everything is all doom and gloom economically for every city on the list, specifically the city which takes first place. And that's a shame because the preface on page 3 is incredibly well worded and clarifies a number of fears one may have if they skipped it. I have linked the bubble index in the description below if you want to read the entire piece. In many cities, there is not enough housing supply, and by its very nature, housing supply cannot be expanded at will in the short term. Thanks to urbanization, this means property prices should rise significantly in the long run, more or less summing up the common narrative on the value growth of urban homes. The strong real estate boom of the last decade underlies this credo once again. However, if urban residential rents are used as a benchmark, the supposed scarcity effect evaporates. Rents have only risen hand in hand with local wages over the same period. I want to go back and highlight the very first sentences in the preface. In many cities, there is not enough housing supply, and by its very nature, housing supply cannot be expanded at will in the short term. Thanks to urbanization, this means property prices should rise significantly in the long run. UBS has a bullish outlook on the real estate market long term, and isn't that how we always should be looking at real estate investing? Long term. Now we can get into the rankings. And as you've likely seen in the title of this video, Toronto is at the top, followed by Frankfurt, Zurich, Munich, Hong Kong, our very own Vancouver, Amsterdam, Tel Aviv, Tokyo, and rounding out the top 10, Miami. Interestingly, Toronto ranks in 7th behind Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Tel Aviv, Boston, and Amsterdam for highest year-over-year residential price growth. Moving on to the price-to-income component of the bubble index. Similar to year-over-year residential price growth, I find the results of the price-to-income incredibly interesting. This chart is a visual representation of the number of years a skilled service worker needs to work to buy a 650 square foot apartment near the city center. Interestingly, Toronto is towards the bottom of the list, in 20th spot to be exact. It would take 7 years for a skilled service worker to buy a 650 square foot apartment in Toronto, compared to 8 years in New York and an astonishing 24 years in Hong Kong. These results really do put Toronto's affordability into perspective as we compare against the rest of the world's global cities. Now let's take a look at the price to rent component. This component of the index analyzes the number of years an apartment of 650 square feet needs to be rented out to pay for the apartment. Where is Toronto? Almost smack dab in the middle in the 13th spot. To pay off a rental apartment in Toronto, it would need to be rented for 27 years, which is a few years less than the maximum amortization period for an investment property. Compare that to 40, 42, and 44 years for Zurich, Geneva, Frankfurt, Tel Aviv, Hong Kong, and Munich. The rental yields in the cities just mentioned are low. However, investors are anticipating being compensated with capital appreciation. If the hopes of capital appreciation do not materialize and expectations deteriorate, Homeowners in these markets with high price to rent multiples are likely to suffer capital losses. And where is Toronto again? Right, smack dab in the middle. Price bubbles are a recurring phenomenon in property markets. The term bubble refers to a substantial and sustained mispricing of an asset, the existence of which cannot be proved unless it bursts. A bubble is just that, a bubble, and we will not know if it will burst until it happens. Toronto does rank as number 1 on the list. However, as noted in the UBS Bubble Index for 2022, property prices should rise significantly in the long run. Thank you for sticking with me and walking through the UBS Bubble Index. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to my channel.